Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Well folks, she's back, and when I say that, you probably know exactly who I'm talking about. Of course you do through the thumbnail. Hillary Clinton decides to put her name out there once again. And you notice there's a common trend here. Every single time Hillary Clinton decides to chime in on whatever's going on, she always somehow makes it about herself, and she always seems to make a comeback with the most petty, cringe, selfish, and dishonest crap you could possibly imagine. And let me ask you, do you think that this time was any different? Obviously not. Hillary Clinton comes back in and decides to poke the other side and poke Donald Trump in possibly the most hypocritical, ridiculous manner you could imagine. You guessed it, folks. Going after Trump over Document-Gate. Toilet-Gate, the classified documents, whatever you want to call it. We've been calling it Toilet-Gate, so I'll continue to do so. But of course, Hillary Clinton is probably the last person to ever be speaking on the matter. And well, of course, she's speaking, and it's basically the cringiest thing I've ever seen. Let me show you guys exactly what Hillary is saying, and let's do what we usually do. Absolutely hammer these leftoids for their utter hypocrisy. We've got some stuff to get into, friends, so let's roll the tape. Alright folks, you guys are all aware of the investigation into Donald Trump, launched by the National Archives and Records Administration, and of course spearheaded by Joe Biden himself, or Joe Brandon. Donald Trump stole classified documents, is what they keep saying. He should go to jail and be barred from ever running for president ever again. And of course, most honest people, most people who are paying attention, your initial reaction is probably as it should be. Well, what about Hillary Clinton? Didn't Hillary Clinton have a private server, an unofficial personal private server, where she was illegally receiving classified information? And so if Hillary Clinton is the automatic what about argument, well, what about Hillary Clinton, what aboutism? Well then, Hillary Clinton is probably the last person who should be speaking on this matter. But of course, when it comes to someone like Hillary, you think that's gonna stop her? Of course not. Tired Hillary Clinton explains why her email controversy is, quote, not as bad as Trump's secret papers scandal. Take a look at what this clown had to say. I can't believe we're still talking about this. But my emails. As Trump's problems continue to mount, the right is trying to make this about me again. There's even a, quote, Clinton standard. It's a little bit of an oxymoron because, of course, we know Hillary Clinton and people on Clinton's level within the Democrat establishment or the deep state establishment, well, they're not exactly held to standards now, are they? But take a look at this final statement from Hillary Clinton. The fact is, I had 0 emails that were classified. She then goes on to write that Comey admitted that he was wrong after he claimed I had classified emails. Trump's own State Department, under 2 different secretaries, found that I had no classified emails. That's right, 0. By contrast, Trump has hundreds of documents clearly marked classified, and the investigation just started. Now, I'm not exactly sure where this information is from. Since when did James Comey come out and publicly state that Hillary Clinton actually had 0 classified emails? It seems as though this might be just another massive Clinton lie. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that Hillary Clinton used James Comey's name in an effort to completely lie and save her own behind. There's this article from PolitiFact.com. Hillary Clinton says regarding the presence of classified information in her email, FBI Director James Comey said my answers were truthful and what I've said is consistent with what I have told the American people. PolitiFact ranked that statement pants on fire. Not just a lie, but an outright egregious lie. And the only statement that we have from former Director James B. Comey on the investigation of Hillary Clinton's use of a personal email system can be found right over here on FBI.gov. From the 30,000 emails returned to the State Department, 110 emails in 52 email chains have been determined by the owning agency to contain classified information at the time that they were sent or received. 8 of those chains contained information that was top secret at the time, 36 chains contained secret information at the time, and 8 contained confidential information, which is the lowest level of classification. Separate from those, about 2,000 additional emails were, quote, up classified. To make them confidential, the information in those had not been classified at the time that the emails were sent. In other words, Hillary Clinton is a pants-on-fire liar and clearly cannot be trusted, and is not only a liar, but clearly a massive snake and hypocrite. I mean, let's go back to what Hillary Clinton is saying. She's playing a contrast game. By contrast, Donald Trump has hundreds of documents clearly marked as classified, and the investigation just started. Hillary Clinton's trying to make the point that her email scandal isn't nearly as bad as Donald Trump's stealing documents from the White House. But let's really put it into perspective. Firstly, Hillary Clinton at the time wasn't even officially serving in government, if I'm not mistaken, and even if she was, she definitely wasn't the president of the United States, who has the unilateral authority to classify and declassify documents and move documents as he pleases. So we're talking about a completely different standard. Donald Trump claims that he declassified the documents. He clearly had the authority to do so, and they're also his documents. Also, there's two major claims here that Democrats are trying to nab Donald Trump on. The first is that he broke protocol by harboring these documents, that he possibly broke the law because he wasn't containing the documents properly or safely enough. Well, that's a little bit ridiculous considering the federal government knew he had these documents and even helped him store them. Not to mention, let's play the contrast game between him and Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton had a totally unsecured personal private email server where she was receiving classified information. If any foreign nation was made aware of that, they could have easily hacked into that server, and so she was clearly in the wrong when it came to protecting sensitive information. A whole lot worse than Donald Trump. Then the second element, which is the big thing, kind of the premise of every single law that was stated on the affidavit and the search warrant to go into Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago, Florida home. We read every single US code, and they were all pertaining to obliteration and destruction of evidence and destruction of classified documents. There is zero evidence to suggest that Donald Trump destroyed or obliterated any classified documents or evidence, where of course, as we know with Hillary Clinton, in her email scandal that she claims is not nearly as bad as Donald Trump's, we know that she bleach-bit her hard drive and completely wiped out her server. Actual destruction of evidence. You know, kind of the same thing that the DOJ is supposedly investigating Donald Trump currently over. Trey Gowdy says, Clinton used special tool to wipe email server. Hillary Clinton's lawyers used a special tool to delete emails from her personal server so that, quote, even God can't read them. House Select Committee on Benghazi Chairman Trey Gowdy said on Thursday. Trey Gowdy, Republican from South Carolina, said the use of BleachBit, computer software whose website advertises that it can prevent recovery of files, is further proof that Hillary Clinton had something to hide in deleting personal emails from the private email system that she used during her tenure as Secretary of State. And so you can see how laughable this whole thing is. But Hillary Clinton is doing what Hillary Clinton does best. She's like a damn mob boss who's taunting the feds and taunting her opposition because she feels protected and she feels above the law. Because of course, Hillary Clinton is technically above the law. The double standard is perfectly clear. Hillary Clinton bleach-bit her server, and of course, what was James Comey's reaction? FBI's Comey says, quote, no reasonable prosecutor would bring a case against Clinton for emails.
Although there is evidence of potential violations of the statutes regarding the handling of classified information, our judgment is that no reasonable prosecutor would bring such a case.
But the same standard definitely doesn't apply to Donald Trump now, does it? They will never stop going after him. Funnily enough, Hillary Clinton just recently said that the GOP displays too many characteristics of authoritarianism, says the lady who totally gets away with clear crimes, the lady who launched a shadow coup to undo an election after she lost it, and probably the lady who's somehow connected to this whole ordeal that we're seeing now in the continued persecution of Donald Trump. She's laughing and playing games and flaunting the fact that she's legally untouchable because of how well connected she is, and the whole thing is just sickening. I mean, for Pete's sakes. This tweet that she released here is so hypocritical and so despicable, and yet nobody is even writing about it. I mean, take a look at this. These are the articles when you search Hillary Clinton. Could you imagine if Donald Trump did what Hillary Clinton is currently doing? It would be non-stop wall-to-wall coverage on who does he think he is. If he had the same previous email scandal as Hillary Clinton, everybody would be bashing him, but of course Hillary Clinton gets away with everything because nobody, including the media, the FBI, no matter what it is willing to hold her accountable. But of course, it's Hillary Clinton being Hillary Clinton. Every public statement is crazier than the last. And why would she ever change her ways when she constantly just gets away with it? Nothing changes. Hillary Clinton continues to be the worst. That's what I got for you guys though. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel if you're up for it. I'm gonna get back to work. Thanks for watching, friends, and I will see you on the next one.